we'll get the interview started. Stream marker. Going live in 3, 2, 1, action. Hello, chat. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to another Ninja Gato interview. Today, I got a very special guest, my friend and horror gamer, cool Giga Woman, ChaosAkuma! Chaos! How are you? How are you? How are you?
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Now I gotta get that extra 1 tick of volume, which is always difficult for me to get. Awesome. Hey, you're hanging out with us? Cool. Alright, so the first thing I do is I shout out the guest, and then I pin their channel. But the thing I love about my shout out module is it plays a random clip. Yeah, plays a random clip. So you get to watch the clip and tell us what is happening in this clip.
Oh boy.
Hey, Chava donated $5 to make a wish. Thank you, Chava. Alright. Is my shout-out thing not working? Yeah, I woke up this morning and none of my overlays are working. So I'm going to try it again. I'm going to restart my overlay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to try it. And you're going to get 2 shout-outs. 2 shout-outs. Nice. From Luna and me, Gato. Thank you so much. Let me shout you out again. Let's see if it actually works this time. There we go.
Well, you know, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Glad you're enjoying it.
Glad you're enjoying it.
Oh fucking shit! No!
They just assaulted you with like diamonds, squares. What the hell just happened in that clip?
Oh yeah. So I used to have this fun command called yeet, and anytime anyone use channel points to redeem yeets or use channel points or bits, it would do an onslaught. Every bit was something like 5 pieces would be thrown at me. So people used to find it very funny to just annihilate me with as many bits as possible, and it was terrifying, but it was amazing. And chat liked to abuse that a lot.
Nice. Chava, I'll riz you up after stream, or after the interview. Thank you for the donation, and thank you, Orion's Belt, for the donation as well. I'll riz you guys both up after the interview. I appreciate your $5 donation to Make-A-Wish International. We are doing this for a good cause. I appreciate your guys' donation. Alright, we have pinned your channel to the chat, so now my gatos have no excuse for not following you just right now. But, somebody discovered that less than 3 activates my blend shapes on my face and makes a heart eyes on Gato. Alright.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Alright, so the very first question we usually ask is the lore behind the name. Can you tell us how you came up with the name for your channel? Also, I'm not sure I'm saying it right, so go ahead and tell us the full name and the lore.
So ChaosAkuma is my Akuma, people say it either way. It's tomato at this point. Originally my name was Countdown to Chaos. Funny thing you mentioned at the start of the stream was that my name was cut off because of reactive. My name ended up being Chow because it cut off the S on the end of chaos, and then I ended up just kind of rolling with it. So chaos or Chow is kind of interchangeable, but it's kind of the nickname I've come to be known by. So thought why not just stick with it. And then Akuma is lore wise, it's who I am, like what I am really. So it's under the whole like yokai VTuber umbrella. So
what is a yokai for those of us who don't know what a yokai is?
Yokai are essentially ghosts, demons, creatures, supernatural and can't be explained under typical Japanese lore.
Yeah.
So like mythologically, yokai are different kinds of creatures like ghosts or urban legends that you hear of. And Akuma are particularly creatures born of fire, and they're more like evil spirits that people would normally come to fear or despise.
Mm, interesting. Wait, does this mean you have special powers?
Some, yes. I haven't revealed everything just yet.
Ah, there's still some mystery. Interesting. Interesting.
Mm.
Cool. Cool. All right, let's get to one of our normal questions that we ask all guests. We go with the hardware setup and the software setup to be the streamer. So, can you tell us the hardware required to operate your stream?
So currently I'm running off of an 8-year-old computer. It's got some dated hardware, unfortunately, and I've been slowly working on trying to upgrade it. So I'm running like older operating system. I'm on Windows 10. Everything I use isn't demanding on my PC. I try and play like lower quality games and lower quality settings just to hope that it doesn't lag or have any issues. But I've slowly been working on getting. I have a new GPU in the weights. I'm also getting a new power supply as well, so I don't have to worry about
Oh,
my computer giving out on me and stuff when I install a new GPU. So it's just a work in progress. I've been trying to upgrade it for a while. So as for the tech behind it, I use various programs. I've used like a VideoTube Mini, which is like for PNGs, PNG Plus, things like that, just to kind of help me with the PNGs so they work.
Okay, so you're using an older me PC, but you are working on getting other parts. Can you tell us like general things about it? What kind of video card you currently using? And then
Yeah, I have a little bit of info here. So it's kind of it's a GeForce. I think it's like 1700 or something like that. It's kind of an older one, I believe, if I remember correctly. I've got 32 gigs of RAM. That was one of the first things I got off Throne actually when I first started streaming. I was
what?
given some new RAM, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, Windows 10, older system. It was a gift given to me by a friend who had an extra PC, and since then I've been just looking at everything, and hoping to upgrade it. It's pretty low on storage and everything, so it's a little bit on the way out the door, but hoping I can upgrade it over time, make it better.
Yeah, 8 years is that's kind of that's the thing that bothers me about streaming or just any technology wise computers. Is it like ages like avocados? It's just you spend a lot of money and then it depreciates extremely quickly. Uh, it has
Yeah.
had its moments, says Burning Beard. Like your computer's had its moments.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've had some issues with it before. Especially streaming. Like as every program that I use upgrades and my computer gets older, it makes it a little harder to handle some things sometimes. Like I used to have those Yeats active all the time. I had to stop using them because when I was using them on regular games, it would lag everything and my stream would almost crash. So I had to stop using them, unfortunately. And I used to have a PNG that had a lot of different expressions and things I could toggle, but I've wound that back because trying to do that much while also trying to stream games was causing a lot of issues, and some games have straight up crashed my OBS before. So I have to be kind of careful and selective on what I play and when I play it.
Okay, so you've been kind of forced to optimize a very light streaming setup.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. And what about any peripherals? Like, what are you using for a microphone? Do you use a camera, stream decks, anything like that?
I'm using this new HyperX keyboard that I got. It was like a cool combo. It was like a RGB keyboard and got the mouse with it and everything as well. It's a very nice keyboard. Um, I'm using a Stream Deck, just a standard um, 15 key one, nothing like crazy or big or anything. And my microphone was this one I found off Amazon. It's I forget what the brand is. I think it's like Mono or something. Um, it's like a boom arm and everything, and it works pretty well for me.
Okay.
Other than that, just wired headphones and basic kind of setup, really. Like just
And
anything that gets the job done.
All right, and what are you using for software to operate your stream?
Typical OBS, typical like Firefox, Discord, Spotify, things like that. I always have music going in the backgrounds and such. Usually, um, I like to kind of have like a nice, comfy vibe. So anything that's kind of low key definitely helps towards that.
Okay, and then what is, I am assuming you have to operate some type of software for your VTuber. What type of VTuber setup do you have?
It's a VideoTube Mini. It's this program I got off itch.io. Basically lets you upgrade or upload your own PNG files and then manipulate them as you like. There's toggles and everything I can set to my Stream Deck, and we'll peek behind the curtain. I usually have multiple layers per expression, and as I was first starting out VTubing, I was using a PNG plugin for my OBS, and it was like a sandwich. So every expression was a different layer, and there was like 20 layers on top of each other, and I just toggle which ones showed and which ones didn't, and it got very, very laggy after a while because I had so many expressions going, especially with the yeets and everything. So it was
Okay.
nice because I had control of what my expressions were, but PNGs are only able to go so far compared to VTuber models with face tracking.
Okay, but you do have a Stream Deck, and you use it to operate your VTuber. Can you give us like a quick little demo of your different expressions and things?
All I have currently on this PNG right now is two modes. I have my regular. Probably can't see this really on the thing here. I can change my reactive though. So I have my regular speaking picture, and then I have one where I'm holding a controller. So I do a lot of gaming and everything. So that way I have one for chatting, and I'll switch over here on my reactive in a second. Kind of shows my controller in my hands that I drew. I draw all my own PNGs as well, and have since I started. So this is
Oh, very
the one I
cool.
use currently.
Oh,
So
nice.
yeah, and it just
And
toggles back and forth between controller and not. So
then you drew your own model, you said.
mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean you have an artistic background, or did you study art in any way, shape, or form?
Yes, actually. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. Took several art classes and everything, and I've been very artistic most of my life. I'm not really math minded. I'm more art coded. So everything I do on my channel, apart from a few minor things, have been drawn or created by me. Christmas lights and everything I made for stream and everything for the winter, and my models and most of my emotes and things are things I made myself. So
Wow, even your emotes are all you. That's very cool. That's very cool. You're very talented.
thank
Um,
you.
okay. All right. Let's get the main interview questions. Your VTubing and your persona. What inspired you to take on a persona of a yokai VTuber? How does this character represent you or your streaming style?
I just try to think the most on, I guess, how I was as a person. So thinking wise, what kind of persona I want to put forward, which is um, a little tricky because my name is Chaos, and on the one hand, I love to be friendly and outgoing and make people feel like comfortable around me, I guess, and try and be like more uplifting and happy, my best self. And then at the same time, I also love like violent video games, and I love like the chaotic nature of things, and just being like loud and crazy and unpredictable. And it's a wild blend of comfort and also just crazy. So it's like it's constantly changing, and it's hard for me to contain all that to one specific like I guess like category of myself. So I just try and just mix it all together, and I'm just a mishmash of everything. And when I was thinking about creating my model and my lore and everything, it's just pretty much trying to capture the chaos of someone who's been through a lot and someone who is just trying to make it. And it's messy and it's a crazy process, but
Hmm.
um, I think like something that's mysterious, but also something that's potentially dangerous or mystical is like a nice, I guess, kind of middle ground to go with, and it's kind of the best way I've come to describe myself, I guess, as a creator.
Okay, so your creative style and you and your life is chaos, so that was a very important element of your character and your channel. And it kind of represents your content because you're all over the place with your different type of games. Very
Mm-hmm.
cool. Um, you touched on you. Is it your yokai that's been through a lot, or is it kind of mixture of the streamer too? You
It's a mixture for sure.
mixture. Okay.
Mm.
Chaos is a mischief maker, says Burning Beard. Oh, you also make your own mischief. I see. I see. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I like to be a bit of a menace sometimes and joke around people, mess with people,
mhm.
just in a fun way, you know, like never like a malicious way, but just try and keep things interesting and unpredictable as much as I can.
All right, and you did mention you're working on a model update. You're planning a VTuber debut. What can your community expect from this big reveal, and how are you preparing for
So I've been. It's not really been too much of a secret.
it?
I've been
Mm.
trying to work on a new PNG behind the scenes that will have a
Oh.
lot of the toggles and everything I used to have. Um, I also started working on a art concept and everything for a VTuber model because I wanted to have one so badly that I didn't want to wait until I had a crazy amount of money to spend on one. Um, so I've been slowly working on that in the background. But in light of that, I'm trying to make a new PNG that will be my final one, hopefully,
Mm.
up until I can start using a VTuber model later on. So my community has this joke that back when I first started, I was just I was just like a bust. I didn't have any arms, I didn't have any hands, no lower body at all. And with each PNG, I've slowly been adding more and more of myself to it. And this recent one that I have, I actually have hands, and my community went wild. And I said that I showed that I actually have a controller that hold like a hands that hold a controller, and they all lost their minds. They're like, "There's no way you don't have hands." I'm like, "Yes, I do." And it's like I have a tail and I have legs, believe it or not. And
Mm.
chat will be amazed to find out that I actually do have legs. So when I show out the new
Oh,
PNG, I in
wow.
fact do have legs and feet and a tail.
Interesting.
So it's gonna be the full me.
Teasers. Nice, nice. Actually,
Mm.
a friend of mine, a friend of mine, has a uh, made a 3D yokai model where I forget what the actual name of said yokai is, but in the Philippines, there's one that's like missing its entire lower half of its body that eats children. So like that kind of fits. That kind of fits you not like you slowly materializing. Um,
I like that. I like that.
yeah, but if like in the future, let's say you got like a monster gaming computer, would you want to go 3D?
Um, I thought about it. I
Mm.
come from a background of a lot of VR chat. I used to spend years every weekend on VR chat with friends at length, and
Wow.
I my actual character concept for my VTuber mostly came from my VR chat model that I was trying to make. And I didn't realize it in VR chat, but then I took the concept of it and apply it to my model. And that's where most of the idea came from, honestly.
Mm. Okay, okay. Well, if you still have those VRMs or are willing to upgrade a VRM, you can join the Mikoverse and pull it out and
I
be a 3D VTuber in the Mikoverse where your community can come join you. So it's considered in the
hmm,
future.
for
Uh,
sure, yeah.
yeah, okay. Um, all right, let me ask you your persona. How do you balance the eerie, horror theme aspects of your persona with community engagement and fun gameplay?
So I like to play. Back when I first started streaming, I tried to focus on a game that I really enjoyed. That was more on the horror spectrum, and it was Dead by Daylight.
Mm-hmm.
I loved playing killer. I loved playing like once in a while, and just it was a nice way for me to like de-stress and decompress after long days. I started streaming it because it was one of the few games I found myself to be really good at, And then I used to stream twice a week, just Dead by Daylight every night. If people wanted to come and hang out, that was awesome. And after a while, I started having more people in the community that wanted to also play. So I started doing community nights and inviting people to come and survive with me or play survivors while I try and hunt them down as killer, things like that. And the more people I met, I got to try out new games and explore things that I like and share them with my community, which included like Mortal Kombat and I shared my love of like how I used to play a lot of Tekken, stuff like that, and tons of horror games that are just co-op. Like I played a lot of Phasmophobia as well and things like that. So just horror games in general, it's like things that are meant to be scary but also kind of fun in their own way. So yeah, I've met a lot of people that are horror enthusiasts and love that kind of thing, but also enjoy the unity of playing games together as friends and everything. It's a good vibe.
That's cool. That's cool. Actually, I've heard Death by Daylight has one of the nicest communities of a lot of games. I've heard that. Like, despite it being a horrifying game where you murder or run and hide, a lot of people are really nice.
It kind of depends. Dead by Daylight is a really fun game. I found in earlier years it was a lot of fun, and a lot of people were very very friendly, and the community was more like tight knit, I guess, back then. And a lot of people just that played it were super into like horror movies and everything, and loved playing for the characters and everything. Over time, I've found with its popularity, it's gotten a lot more blown out, and unfortunately, a lot more bad eggs have kind of grown into the community, and it's a lot more competitive than it used to be. Because it used to be more like fun and like a party game almost. It was more like enjoyable and not really sweaty, but it's gotten a lot more intense lately. And unfortunately, the community's reactions have kind of reflected that. So it's a lot more intense now. And while you do meet really awesome people, and most of the people in my community I have met through playing the game that I've met in matches. Unfortunately, a lot of people have become very intense at the game and very passionate about it. And it's gotten a little bit more toxic, unfortunately. I hate to say the word, but kind of where it is. So it's like you meet wonderful people once in a while, but it's hard to come by a little bit nowadays.
Yeah, Burning Beard said you really branched out for Death by Daylight, and he says they're awesome and also not so awesome people. And I'll agree with Boom. Sadly happens to a lot of popular games. Yeah, what's the like, especially during the spooky month, like which was pushing Death by Daylight and featuring people on the front page playing that game. So I think you guys had an influx of players just trying to, pump up their content. I could see that. I could see it having a mixed community, but I'm glad you found your community within the Death by Daylight community. All right. So let's talk about your streaming content. You are a variety horror and action game streamer. I've seen you play Death by Daylight, and then you've played Metal Hellsinger. What draws you to these games, and what makes them fun to stream?
So back when I first started streaming, when I streamed those 2 days of Dead by Daylight, I made the decision to play other games as well. Even though I wanted to stick mostly to horror, I also like taking a break from specific games, especially Dead by Daylight, because it can get very intense on one's mental health if they play too much of the same game. So I decided to have a variety day, and I was like, let's flip the script a little bit. Let's play something else. Let's play something more lighthearted or something a little bit more action packed or something. And ended up looking at the list of games that I really enjoy, games that people might not know about, or games that I think would be more engaging to watch in some cases than Dead by Daylight. And I moved into playing very, very, very opposite games like Final Fantasy and like Sonic. We're recently doing a huge Sonic marathon and stuff like that. That just doesn't really fit the horror vibe, but it's stuff that I find near and dear to my heart, and games that are just a nice break from the doom and gloom of horror all the time. And I still like to do horror games on Sundays, but it's nice to kind of come up for air, well, especially when you're playing games that delve a lot into difficult topics such as like mental health issues and depression and things like that that can be a little bit more intense for some people. It's nice to have a breather and a nice little opposite to go to.
Okay, wait. Which Final Fantasy did you play?
I think I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, I think, on stream.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I found out that my community was kind of cool with the idea, I played other ones as well. I've been playing Final Fantasy 14 online
Oh.
here and there, trying to go through the story. And I've also played, was it Final Fantasy 15, which was one of my favorites. And that one, funny enough, that one's really sad kind of near the ends, and my community knows that I like to play a lot of games that have tragic endings or tragic stories to them, and I've given them the meme of emotional damage at this point because they're like, oh, this is a really cool game, but also chaos. Why'd you make us cry? You know. So it's funny.
And Burning Beard says, "Hey, we like variety. Horror is always home though." True. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I have to play Final Fantasy 14. I did that as a charity goal, and we reached that goal, so I will be joining you in the world of Final Fantasy. And did you play Sonic previously?
Yeah. I told my community months ago about how Sonic was the very first game I ever played, and it was on Sega Genesis, and I loved it so much. And replaying the games recently, I haven't played them in about 10 years or so, but I used to play them to death. And going back to them again recently, it's like reliving my childhood, and it's been really fun and really cool to like I guess enjoy like the nostalgia with everyone. And last night, like we watched the Sonic movies together in Discord, and it was really cool seeing people's reactions to it, and like how some people who've been fans of the game for a long time were super excited about memes or references drops, and also people who had never seen the movies before or like are new to the games and everything, finding enjoyment out of it, and kind of getting that same bewilderment I had when I first started playing the games. It's been nice. It's been fun.
Okay, cool. And then Burning Beard says you make us cry all the time? Interesting. How have you made them cry?
Oh, yeah. Between movie nights and Discord that I do occasionally, we'll watch movies that have emotional impacts. Like we watched was it the Barbie movie? I think was one of our last movie nights, and it surprisingly hit people pretty hard. And I was like, oh dang! And like a bunch of us have cried together on my streams when I'm playing games that are really sad, that sometimes are unexpected, or games that I know that are sad, but I play them anyway. And yeah, it's usually a case of when one person starts crying, the rest of us start crying. So it's a time, but it's a nice thing because it's like it's a way of bonding, I think, with the community, and it's like ultimately we're all human. We're all kind of going through stuff. Apart from some of us who are cats or akumas, but still.
When Akuma is a cat?
No, you're a cat.
Oh, okay.
I'm the akuma.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, speaking of crying, can you share one of the most intense or memorable moments while playing a horror game on stream?
A horror game. Trying to think.
True.
Like, trying to look at the list of like all the games that I played, because I've played so many. Been streaming for almost 3 years now, and the list is so long. I don't know. Like, it's a nice surprise when I'm playing a game, and it hits you with some unexpected moment, and you just kind of let it hit you, and you're just like, wow, this is actually really good. Like, I don't know, playing the Silent Hill 2 remake, I feel like I cheated a little bit because I was playing it off stream on my first playthrough, but I remember playing through it again on stream for my second playthrough. I was excited, but I was also kind of upset because I got a different ending, and that ending is kind of was tough, and I was like, oh no, this is actually really sad, and like just stuff like that is intense. I think maybe Silent Hill 2 original. I think I don't know if you've ever played the original Silent Hill 2,
Only the
but the
remake.
ending. Sorry, go ahead.
I said only the remake.
Mhm. The ending hits pretty hard, and I cried on stream, and then and then I still remember this. But chat play this sound bite at the very end, and it was like this sad violin, and it just came out of nowhere, and I was like, "Who did that? Who did it?" And I was like crying, but there's just moments like that where it's like something happens, someone dies, something sad happens, and chat comes in and does something funny or plays a meme at the wrong time,
Hey,
and
what's up,
it's
Jaden?
like a cry from sadness but also laughter at the same time.
Okay. Yeah, the Silent Hill has a very deep story, and we will go into that after the interview. Oh, and then Burning Beard said Clem's story for The Walking Dead also got us.
Yeah, I was playing through the Walking Dead games, and yeah, we all cried playing the first season. It was ugly sobbing for a lot of us.
All right, so they perfectly timed the sad violin during these moments.
Yeah, they like to do that.
That's cool. Well, they gotta have their toys. They gotta have fun. All right.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, next question. As a Funcom creator, do you feel this partnership has impacted your content, or how do you approach streaming?
For sure. I was lucky enough back when Metal Hellsinger came out. It had everything I liked, like horror and violence, but also metal music. Three of my favorite things. So I played the game, I fell in love with it, and I applied for the Funcom Creator Program. Was able to speak with people from Funcom and get access to DLCs and new songs when they came out.
Oh.
And with all that, I got to basically share with my community and my friends how much I love the game, and it was really cool to play the game a bunch and then um, have the Funcom Creator title attached to it too, because I love Mental Hellsinger, and it was an absolute dream of mine to be able to share it with everyone, and on a I guess like a professional level as well, of just like enjoying it myself. So it's been really cool. I'm kind of sad there hasn't been any more updates for a while, but I think with them bringing the game out in VR, they're kind of moving on from Metal Hellsinger. But I'm gonna keep the hope alive and keep playing it every so often to try and bring new players into the fold, because it is a really fun game, and I want to see more people enjoy it.
Okay. And then for somebody with an orange brain cell, what is Funcom?
Funcom is a gaming publisher. Studio, sorry. They create a lot of different games. They've done Conan. They've done. They're working on a new Dune game coming out. Which should be really cool. It's like a Dune survival game. They've done several different smaller games and everything. But for me, Metal Hellsinger was the one that I found them with, and that's the one that I kind of reference to and like go back to on a regular basis. But they have a lot of cool games coming out, and I might probably dip into Dune. Maybe some Conan at some point as well, just to kind of like see the rest of their library as well.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, that's awesome. You got that partnership.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's talk about your community and your growth. I noticed you have nearly 3K followers. How have you built and maintained your community over the years? What is the key to fostering loyalty among viewers?
So, back when I first started streaming as a VTuber, a little bit of context, I have actually had a Twitch stream channel longer than I've been VTubing. Been VTubing for about 2.5 years or so, and almost 3. Before that, I had my account for about a year, 2 maybe. I occasionally stream once in a while. I hit affiliate before I even started VTubing, so I feel like I kind of cheat a little bit. But when I first started VTubing, I had a friend that I moderated for, and his community, a lot of them came over to come and support me when I first started out. And since then, a few of them have actually stayed and stuck around and supported me since then, and it's been really cool. But my biggest thing is just, as a streamer, I want to try and have a place where people can relax and get away from the worries of the outside world, and place that we can all have fun and be just real with each other and just feel safe, you know, and just feel happy and like be ourselves without judgment. And since then, we've met some really amazing people, and we've had our ups and downs as a community and as a streamer, you know, as you do as a channel together. There's always going to be people that come and go. There's always going to be issues here and there, you know, people coming, people going. But ultimately, I just really want to have a nice place and to try and do good as a creator. And I feel like people that have come along and stuck around and everything are just people that I want to know for years to come. I've met some of the most amazing people, and some of my closest friends. My best friend is someone that I randomly rated through Twitch, and it's just people that I want to know for years. Yeah, and I feel so lucky to be here and to be doing this, and I know we're almost at 3K, but it does not feel like it. It does not feel like it. I feel like I'm just like, my mind is blown even thinking about that. And I'm grateful to my community, and I think about them every single day. And it's like having a family that isn't around like physically, but just I feel it all the time. You know, it's really nice.
Yeah, man, that's incredible. Yeah, 3K. Okay, so if I can summarize, one, be part of an active community. So you were already part of a community as a moderator and had notoriety there. So you got cross support from that. And then two, you've built your little fam, your little quiet place on and where you just hang out, and you make a safe space for everyone that just hang out and enjoy themselves while you play cool games. So that's how you built your community. You're nearly your 3K. That's pretty impressive. Yes, Beppo, welcome back. We are doing the interview content now. Yeah, I know the gaming content's not his favorite. What has been one of your favorite experiences or interactions with your viewers so far?
So I talk about this one every so often, and if she were here, she'd probably be a little embarrassed again because I keep talking about it. But there was about around this time or so last year, or a little earlier, I went through and played the Devil May Cry games, and I'd always meant to do that. I never got around to it, so I got to experience all of them in order from start to finish. And playing the fifth one, Devil May Cry 5, after playing all of them in order, I actually was like, I was kind of in tears by the end because I was like, oh, it's over. There's no more. And I really enjoyed the adventure from start to finish. And part of 2 was awful, but I just had fun because like it's like, hey, I want to play this game series. Chat, is it okay if I play it? Everyone was supportive, and a lot of people came out to watch and to be part of it, and it was really cool. And at the very end of 5, I was going through some of the end content and just looking at stuff and everything, and I got a message in chat, and I can pull it up so I don't have to paraphrase it, but it was from someone who had been lurking in my streams, and I didn't even know that she was there. And it was like right near the end, when she came in, and she posted in chat, and when I saw that, I immediately started like crying. I was like, man, I can't handle this. Like, it hit me like a train, and I was distraught the rest of the night after I read it. Just pulling it up right now. I've been looking through all of the DMC playthroughs, and I just want to say that it's incredible to see someone as excited as I am still regarding DMC 5. Like, I bought this game on 3 different platforms just for play because of how much I love it. 10 out of 10, loved seeing you play through the series. And I saw that, and I broke down because like they hadn't said a single word in chat, and I was streaming those games for like 3 weeks almost, and they came in chat and said that after all that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just to think that that there's like just it kind of hit me with reality that people watch, and there's people in our communities that we've never even met, that we might even know about, but they're there. Yeah, and it's it's wild because it's like just thinking that someone came in and for weeks watched and didn't say a word until the very end and said thank you for playing, and that just broke me down. Like I cried for hours even after stream was over. I was in a call with my friends and they were like consoling me and they're like, "Why are you upset?" I'm like, "I'm so happy. You don't understand. Like that meant so much to me." And like it just, oh man, it was just it still gets me. And I still look at that screenshot. I have it saved on my computer and I look at it once in a while. And it's like whenever I feel doubt about my content or being a creator or anything like that, and I feel just sad. I just look at that and it's just like it hits me like a punch in the chest again. It's like I it gives me drive to keep doing it, and it gives me drive to keep going because it's like I get to meet people that I'd never otherwise meet, and I get to share things with people, like share game experiences with people that I never thought I'd get to. So it's intense.
Wow. Okay. So one of your most heartfelt moments was luring a lurker out of lurking to actually compliment you for playing their favorite game. And it's what motivates you to keep streaming, even when things aren't going so great. So, hey, thank you for the 35 biddies, Dark Kiss. How are you? We're interviewing ChaosAkuma, a horror streamer friend of mine. Also, Dark Kiss has made me naked, so I'm currently naked on my stream. So,
Oh god,
awesome.
you have no fur. Oh no.
Thank you for the bits. Cool. All right. Let's talk about behind the scenes. Because I'm really bad about this. What is your typical stream setup routine like behind the camera? How do you manage the technical aspects while maintaining your performance as a VTuber?
So I will admit it is a little easier as a PNG tuber to quickly deal with things and or scramble behind the camera or behind the screen without people actively seeing me. So oftentimes if I have to fix something or adjust something, my face is very emotive, and if something goes wrong, like a program stops working or a game crashes or something, uh, I get like my face adjusts and I look angry or I look worried or anything like that. And the cool thing is being able to try and keep my cool and the illusion of cool while having a PNG that's smiling. And meanwhile, behind the camera, I could be furious and just trying to fix something and frantically freaking out. And they won't see my character. They won't see me bouncing back and forth between monitors and everything and trying to like adjust things as I go or if stuff like that. So it's really funny and I will admit that I don't have the most optimal setup, I guess, because I had to like lean really far to get my controllers like plugged in and things like that. But thankfully, keeping two monitors side by side and having everything kind of close together does help a little bit. But I know that when I finally do have a model that shows my expressions and shows my movement, that chat's gonna realize just how unprepared I am and how frantic I am all the time. So it's really funny.
Burning Beard says we pretend not to hear the insanity going on sometimes. Interesting. Yeah, we'll say as streamers, like, the tech issues never end. Like, and sometimes shit breaks all on its own. Like, all my overlays are broken today for no reason. For no reason whatsoever. Like, I hate that. I hate it so much.
Yeah, it's awful.
So, okay.
Like, I had an older was it keyboard? I had this Black Widow Razer keyboard, and that thing was like gunfire when I was typing. So a lot of times, if I got a message on Discord or something that chat realized I got, they'd hear me typing like a storm, and it didn't have proper microphone buffering or anything like that, so they could hear it, and they just hear the furious typing and be like, "Oh, Chaos is dealing with something." I'm just like, ignore that, ignore it, don't pay attention to it.
Yep. ISE Boom says Ghost Shell always curse streamers. True. Soon Muse says this weekend tech got me completely out of doing anything useful. Yep. Troubleshooting is always a boondoggle. And Beppo says the reason you don't understand it. Streaming is crazy complicated, and sometimes settings aren't always the one we want. True. True. Then Burning Beard said your mouth would move.
Yeah, my PNG was had the volume set too low, I guess, for the threshold. So every single time I typed, my mouth would move.
Oh,
And
jeez.
it just went crazy. And it was really funny. But also, I'm just like, don't pay attention to it. Don't look at it.
You're just you're talking keyboard typing. Nice.
Yeah.
Um,
It was fun though.
all right, and like you said, you've been streaming for a long time. It says as somebody who's been streaming since 2014. Holy fuck! How have you seen the Twitch platform and the VTuber community evolve over the years?
I've had my account since 2014. I started out streaming games on PlayStation. I used to do a lot of charity stuff, and I post on my Instagram and everything about it, and say like, "Hey, I'm gonna play this game, and I'm trying to raise money for Extra Life and things." And I'd stream to one viewer for hours and hours and hours. I go for 24 hours, playing games by myself, and I'm just like, you know what? It's fine. I'm just doing my thing. I'm having fun, trying to raise some money, doing a good cause. And I used to do it every year. And yeah, back then it was like surfing channels was definitely different because I first got into VR chat. I think it was back in like 2016 or so. I saw this streamer that was playing on Twitch, and I wanted to go and get involved. So the community, I found chat to be a lot more active back then, and like they had the Bob Ross streams. I used to watch those, and chat would do the thing where if you painted on a white canvas, they'd say ruined. If you turned it into a tree or like a fence, they'd be like saved. And like I was there when all that was going on, and it was a different vibe I think back then. Whereas like I saw chat being a lot more active in different streams and different channels,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I didn't really understand the community aspect of it as much because it felt like I was on an outsider kind of looking in. But now it's like when I'm in a lot of Twitch chats saying hi to my friends and stuff, I feel like I'm part of the community and I'm stepping into someone's house to come hang out for a bit, you know. So it's a different vibe than it was back then. And I think being a streamer definitely helped me like appreciate that more and kind of change the perspective on Twitch a lot more.
Yeah, Beppo says one viewer can be all it takes. In fact, sometimes there are dozens, hundreds, thousands of people, and all only care about what one person has to say. Real.
Mm-hmm.
You can have
Mm-hmm.
a really awesome chatter, like Jorm, for instance. Somebody I was just gaming with earlier. He's just got all these hilarious jokes. He just has so much riz that it just like rolls off the tongue, and he's just a comedy genius, a roasting genius. It's always fun when he's around. Also, the community is making a note. Time is crazy because you've been like a decade of streaming. That's insane. Yeah. All right. Let's do the next question. All right. Horror game focus. Horror games seem to be a major part of your content. What initially drew you to the genre, and do you remember the first horror game that left a lasting impact on you?
Oh boy, this is a story I like to share a lot actually. So I used to be the biggest scaredy cat ever.
Really?
I hated the look of anything horror. I could not stand anything that had scary stuff in it. I was an absolute chicken. It was awful. I used to be terrified of everything. I remember first watching someone I know play through Resident Evil 2 and hearing the sounds of the zombies like on PS1 had me running out of the room. Like I was so freaked out. And I'd say the one game that kind of, I guess, like kicked things off for me was Dino Crisis. I was in my friend's basement and they had this gigantic TV and they were playing Dino Crisis. And back then, for me, like those graphics and everything like that, like they were like almost like real. It was a time. So
Mm-hmm.
there was a moment where his T-Rex like smashes its face through this dark window. And you don't see it coming and just like attacks you and that messed me up so bad that I couldn't walk near dark windows for years. Like at night, if it was a window, I'd have to like run past it or crawl past it or something. Like I refused. I covered up every window. It was so bad. I was like traumatized for years. And then eventually I picked up a copy of Resident Evil 4 and like the original one and I started watching horror movies and slowly like kind of pushing myself to conquer my fears and kind of overcome that. And then next thing I know, I became a horror junkie years later, and I was so entrenched in it that's like I wanted to play all the cool horror games, and I picked up copies of Resident Evil and Silent Hill and Fatal Frame, and those games, well, they still freak me out sometimes, and I still get scared plenty. I really enjoy jumping into games and getting scared and like having moments like that just catch me by surprise. It's really fun, really satisfying too.
Interesting. So you used horror games to beef up uh, your fearless stat, and ever since then, it's become your poison. Interesting. Okay. All right. Speaking of Silent Hill, Silent Hill 2 and Resident Evil are considered iconic horror games. What do you think makes these games stand the test of time, and how do they compare to modern horror titles like Death by Daylight?
So Resident Evil and Silent Hill, while originally coming from very similar backgrounds and two rival studios trying to basically both make their mark in the horror genre, um, they're both very different fundamentally, and each one explores a different kind of horror on its own. When you have Silent Hill, that's the more like psychological horror and the fear and the reality that like horror can come from one's mind, not necessarily like the surroundings around you. Whereas Resident Evil is the horror of greed and corporate corruption and how it affects everyday people in a situation where it's like everything's falling apart around you. What do you do? Kind of thing. And it's like a terrifying situation. How do you get out of it and how do you survive? So they're both very different games and both very different series that kind of stem from that idea. And over time have carved out their own different identities as well. Because back in the day, they called Silent Hill a ripoff of Resident Evil.
What?
And Konami wanted to have, Konami wanted to make a game that was like a horror game. They wanted their answer to Resident Evil, so they came up with Silent Hill. And Silent Hill is a miracle because it came together with a handful of people in Konami that were essentially considered like the outcasts or the failures of the company. And they were tasked with this impossible thing of just make a game that's good, that's scary. And they ended up making a Silent Hill, and it became a huge hit. And it's kind of crazy how an underdog like that happens, but just they're really awesome games that while each entry is different, it's an experience that people can go into and really just enjoy as survival horror because it's always a different experience and every game has its own story and its own characters, but you end up rooting for the protagonists and everything and trying to like almost emulate how you'd survive in a situation like that. And it's fun to imagine like, oh, if I was, trapped in Spain with a bunch of people that were acting really crazy and trying to kill me, what would I do? And it's very fun. It's very, very fun.
Yep. Burning Beard asks, you're a vocal fan of Maria in Silent Hill 2. What makes this character resonate with you so much?
It's kind of a tough one without talking about spoilers. So I don't want to spoil anyone who has not played Silent Hill 2, like the original or the remake. But I think more than anything, it's Maria presents herself as a very confident character, as someone who knows what she wants and she acts in a way that's almost unapologetically her, if that makes sense. She has this like kind of like almost like fearlessness. In the original, she's very different than she is in the remake. I'm trying to like say this without spoiling anything. In the original, she seems almost like a predator, kind of. She looks at James like he is someone to be manipulated, and she looks at him almost as if like she has this like this dagger like stare, and you can tell that she has a little bit more going on than she reveals later, but she has this almost like flirty side too, where she try and get under his skin and like annoy him a little bit at the same time, like try and bring him closer to her clutches, kind of. And in the remake, she's a little bit softer, a little bit more like fragile, someone who needs to be a little more protective, but at the same time, you can also tell like she can hold her own when needed. She can deal with what she has to deal with, and I don't know. I like the idea of a character like a female that isn't just a damsel and is actually someone who has her own motives and has her own thing going on and isn't necessarily there to be a specific I guess like a it's hard to say it. I guess someone who has like, this fearlessness about her and has almost like someone that like you not really sure if you should be afraid of her or if she's like on your side or not, if that makes sense. Like kind of like a mystery to her that I like.
Yeah, actually, that like she came on really strong in the remake when I was playing it, and you were in my chat too, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"What the hell is her deal? What is her agenda?" And you're like, "Don't you be mean to Maria? She's so good. She's an angel. You better be nice to Maria." And I was like, "Okay, okay."
Yeah, yeah.
uh,
It's
uh,
like I can't say too much without spoiling it, but
mhm,
that's what I can say.
mhm.
Just because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who has not played yet. But like when you play the games and you understand Maria's whole thing, I don't know, like you kind of like see her as more of a character that's like an icon than anything else. Because like I like her as she is, and I like how how she is considering all of her
Mhm.
circumstances. That's all I'm gonna say because I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah. Actually, after the interview, we'll dive into it. We'll just tell people to skedaddle, because I do want to discuss it, and especially because
Hmm.
Beppo also agrees. Um, he he thinks if you can spoil it, it's not a game, and if no matter what you do, you end up at the same place, it's not typically a game, it's an animated story. No, Silent Hill 2 actually has multiple endings, Beppo, depending on what you do. So
Hmm.
that's kind of a cool thing that we will talk about after the interview. Because I did want to pick your brain about that because I am so confused. Nice.
No worries.
All right. All right. But in comparison to a modern game like Death by Daylight, I think would you say Silent Hill and Resident Evil they just have way better story? And you think that carries it and makes it stand the test of time, whereas Death by Daylight's more like an online community type game?
I it's like comparing like it'd be like comparing
Apples and
how
oranges.
is it? It's no, it's um how is that game? Castle Crashers? Like comparing Castle Crashers to a game that actually has a story and narrative to it, like overarching. Dead by
Mm.
Daylight fundamentally was meant to be a multiplayer party game almost. That's
Mm.
what behavior wanted it to be. Where it's like one person plays the killer, everyone else plays survivors, and you're meant to go into this trial and overcome it and see who wins. Um, Resident Evil and Silent Hill games like those are narrative driven, but also have their fair share of action and everything. It's survival horror, and survival horror is essentially just characters being put in these situations where they have to try and overcome and survive the horror. And
Mhm.
yeah, Dead by Daylight is a game that while it does have characters and lore and everything, all those things are secondary to the gameplay. Whereas in Resident Evil, the gameplay is the story and everything. Like as you go through and everything, every level you beat, every monster you beat, um, paves the way for continuing the story. Whereas Dead by Daylight, it's just after the trial is over, you go back to the main screen, and then you queue up to go play again. And it's high replayability on the one hand, but at the same time, it's the randomization of different characters, different perks, killers, add-ons, maps, all that stuff is different each time. So it's like a box of chocolates you never know what you're gonna get, and people keep going back to it over and over again because that replayability is addictive. Whereas Resident Evil and Silent Hill is one of those games where if you play it, once you've beaten it, it's like, what do I do now? You know, like you kind of ruminate the story and you think about the characters, and you might go back for an extra run or an extra level, or if you feel like doing a challenge, something like that, or a speed run, you'll
Mhm.
go and do it. But ultimately, they're both very different, and the story in those games are meant to carry everything, whereas Dead by Daylight is essentially just carried by the replayability factor of it. And they'll release new characters and things to try and bring you back, but it's yeah, it's DVD, and if you want to know about the characters, you have to look in the character sheets and read lore about things and kind of connect the dots outside of the game, whereas Resident Evil and everything presents it to you over time, and then the whole story is like completed in there, not elaborated on later on in like Dead by Daylight.
Mm, very true. Very true, says Burning Beard. Okay. Okay. Um. Well, speaking of that, and the narrative-driven experiences, Death by Daylight offers multiplayer horror. How does the tension of playing with other people compare to the more narrative-driven experiences in games like Silent Hill or Resident Evil?
Well, oftentimes Resident Evil and Silent Hill, those games are single player, and those are meant to be you versus everything else around you, kind of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
you're basically supposed to be on your own. Silent Hill essentially drives off the idea of a character being in a place that's very empty and very barren. It's meant to make you feel alone and vulnerable. And then you have games like Resident Evil, where while they do also have that, there's a lot of threats around you that are constantly coming after you, like zombies or monsters. And the idea is to survive. So it's two very different atmospheres, but at the same time, it's meant to feel like you're alone in this fight, and you have to see if you'll make it out alive. And
Mm-hmm.
Dead by Daylight or multiplayer games like that, you find a lot of the fear kind of goes away when you have other people around you. You get braver when you have friends or teammates to support you, and people that you can even like have fun with. You know, like just running from a killer is funny when you're messing around with friends or you're in a call together. Running around and being a menace can be hilarious. When if it was a different game, if you're running for your life, it can be scary. Like if you're playing a game like The Evil Within, or let's say,
Mm-hmm.
if you're running from a killer that's on your butt, it's terrifying. Like you're freaking out, you're screaming, you're losing it. Like how do I get out of this? You know. Whereas Dead by Daylight, if you're running from the killer, either you're trying to buy time for your teammates who are busy doing their own thing and trying to progress, or you're essentially trying to just like keep the killer busy and being a bit of a pain in the butt. So it's just like um, the idea of multiplayer horror is to almost alleviate the fear of playing with friends and to have fun together. Whereas the fun in survival horror games is overcoming those obstacles and testing yourself against the odds. So it's two very different vibes, I guess.
I got you. Yeah, it might be funny if you're like, "Oh my God, it's Burning Beard! Quick, scatter, scatter!"
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, yeah, just being in a call can make an experience way better, says ISE Boom. Okay. Um, all right. I'm a big chicken. I'm literally a cat. So, what is your strategy for keeping calm or staying focused during a particularly terrifying moment on stream? Or do you embrace the jump scares for the audience sake?
um, for those that were part of my community and remember, there was a game that I played called Visage, and Visage is by far one of the most terrifying games I've ever played. It took me
Visage. Okay.
a lot of time to get through that game. It was terrifying, and there was so many times where it's like if I found myself to the point where I was so scared I couldn't keep playing, I had a friend come into Discord and talk to me and ground me almost while I was playing it, because I got so into the game that I couldn't focus on anything else. Um, Sometimes I'll sing in a goofy way, or I'll make jokes constantly. You can tell I'm nervous if I start making jokes and cracking really dumb comments to try and like almost like shake the fear off me. And yeah, when I was playing Visage, there was several times where this one moment in particular, I was in a hallway, and it was like a super dark, narrow, linear hallway, and all I had was a lighter in my hands. And every so feet when you keep walking around in there, this face would pop out and scare the crap out of you, and the lighter would go out, and it like I lost my mind. I screamed several times during that sequence. But I remember there was a clip I think I saved of just me sitting there, and a raid came in, and I was just sitting there. I'm like, "Hi guys, I'm ChaosAkuma, and I'm terrified." And I'm just sitting there with a lighter, just hoping to God if I keep moving, I'm not gonna get jump scared again. And then I'm
Mm.
just like, "It's okay. I'm not afraid. I'm gonna keep going." And then I suddenly get jump scared again. And I start losing it, and then chat is just laughter emojis everywhere, and just everyone like losing it and clipping it and making fun of me. And I'm just like, I swear this game is not gonna beat me. And it's like I had to keep overcoming moments like that for a lot of the game, because it was just moments that I tried to make light of, like picking up a trash can, calling it Timmy, my friend, who'd save me. and just things like that I try to make Goofy light of to try and help me get through the game, because otherwise I just lose my mind and turn the game off.
Okay, so you'll use humor as a tool to kind of diffuse the horror situation. Oh, Burning Beard remembers Timmy, and remembers your nervous laughter. Like when I was playing Alien Isolation, we named the creature Fluffy, so it'd be like, "Bad Fluffy, no, no, leave us alone, bad Fluffy."
Yeah.
Or like I'll just do like you and sing a nervous song. Oh, I have another question, but this is gonna come out of nowhere. Have you ever done a horror in VR?
I have actually, yeah. I haven't streamed it, but I used to spend a lot of time in VR chat with friends and everything. And I used to, especially during the spooky season, I used to make it a hobby to go and look up horror maps. And some of the maps people come up with are crazy good in VR chat. Like they're almost games of themselves. And I've played a couple different standalone VR games that are like horror. Some of them weren't very good. Playing Phasmophobia in VR is absolutely terrifying, because then you have a ghost whispering in your ear, just like, hey, and it's like that like gets me every time, freaks me out so bad because I can't fight or flight. I just run. So it's just stuff like that is terrifying.
Yep. Yeah, so I have a streamer friend, box_TV, and hey, ISE Boom, thank you for the follow. He does nothing but horror, and not sorry, he does nothing but VR a lot of the times. And some of the horror games and even combat games have given him PTSD. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, playing in VR. Like he talks about where he literally almost jumped on a grenade, and it's still one of the scariest moments like that he can recall. Like, oh shit, like because it's just so immersive type of thing. And then I heard that they're trying to up. Like I have another VR friend, Mega Mocap, who wants to play Silent Hill 2 in VR. And he wants it to have 6 degrees of freedom, so he actually has to swing the bat, to beat things. But I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine Silent Hill 2 in VR. I would poop my pants all the time. Like that was scary as is. That would be crazy. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Can you share a moment where a game generally scared you or caught you off guard during a live stream? How did your community react?
Like caught me off guard as in scared me, or caught me off guard as in just like almost like, oh no, like I shouldn't be playing this or something?
Let's do both. Like one that you just were not expecting to get that scared, and then one where you're like, what is this game?
Okay. Well, the latter. This like, oh no, I should not be playing this. I loaded up Visage, and minor spoilers, I guess, for those who have played it or might not have played it. The game presents you with a gun in the first like 2 seconds.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh my god! I immediately reached for the trigger warning button and like started to panic. I'm like, oh Jesus, should I like turn the game off? Like I started freaking out right away because I was like, this is gonna depict some really messed up things right away, and it did, and I freaked out. But then I'm like, okay, chat, we're just gonna power through this. Like I'm sorry, I gave everyone all the warnings, and I after that happened, I just sat there for a minute. And I'm like, oh my god, like what have I gotten myself into? And that was the first like 2 minutes of the game. That was wild. And as for scares, I'd probably say Visage. Honestly, like out of all the games I played, and I played very many, like a lot of games on stream. Parasocial too. Oh, yeah, Visage was probably the scariest. Psychologically, the one that kind of like got me the most was Parasocial. It's this game from Chilla's Arts, and Parasocial, the entire basis of the game is you're playing as a streamer and a VTuber, technically, and The game deals with stalking. It deals with the VTuber being targeted outside of their streams, and then just the nightmare of just like being found in person and then being attacked. And that is something that is kind of near and dear ish to me, or like hits home to me, because I've also dealt with not necessarily to the extreme, but dealt with issues of people finding me when I don't want them to, and
Oh
and being
wow.
yeah, I've dealt with that myself, and
You've
it hit me
literally
so
dealt.
bad that night that I almost had to stop playing. Like I was hyperventilating near a certain part in the game. It's like
True.
it was scary. It was terrifying. Like it kind of like it like brought back something that I wanted to forget, and then I started freaking out, and I was like, I'm not playing this game ever again. I bought it, I played it, I powered through to the end, but I was a mess by the end because it was too real for me. So it's like, no, that game is messed up, especially for those of us in VTubing who cherish our privacy. It is a game that crosses that boundary and makes us feel very vulnerable.
Yeah, what's up, the
And
cat dude?
yeah,
Yeah, we're
there's a lot.
interviewing ChaosAkuma, who's mostly a horror gamer, but she's telling us about some of the scariest games she's played. One is Visage, which is just really messed up, and then a different one called Parasocial, which is a VTuber's nightmare, where a actual parasocial person goes too far.
Yeah. Hi, cat dude.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Horror games often have rich narratives and immersive atmosphere. Do you have a favorite storyline or environment from any of the games you've played on stream?
I'm probably a broken record with this one, but I love Silent Hill so much, and Silent Hill 2 is like one of my favorite vibes. That game means a lot to me emotionally, and especially nowadays because my best friends I introduced to Silent Hill 2, the original, and he fell in love with it like right away. And now that's become our inside joke and our almost like our shared thing together. So it's like we're always sharing memes together. We play as James and Maria in Dead by Daylight together, and it's become very near and dear to me. So being outside whenever it's foggy, especially over where I'm living, anytime there's fog, I immediately pull on the Silent Hill like soundtrack, and I'm just like, man, I feel like I'm there, and it's like a comfort thing for me.
Burning Beard asks, so you've played a variety of horror games. Do you prefer jump scares or slow creep as a way of delivering that horror?
I like the slow creep, the um being just like the disturbing kind of vibe, I guess, than just having cheap jump scares. Because jump scares can get anybody scared. Whereas if you have something that's almost like Silent Hill, where it's like it's meant to unsettle you and disturb you, not necessarily make you jump in your chair. It's realizing things that are scary going on around you that aren't necessarily like active or in your face, but realizing, oh, you're in a room, a dark room, and now imagine there's a dead body on the floor next to you. You know, it's not meant to be like, oh, it's a monster about to attack you. It's literally you're in a room where something very bad has happened. Someone could be dead, something horrible could be happening. That's meant to like freak you out and creep you out, you know? And it's like how do you deal with that kind of feeling, you know? I like that instead.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, jump scares are just kind of like, that's like a cheap trick type of thing in horror. Like, if that's all you do in your game, it's kind of lazy in my opinion. But I think, like, I'll agree with you. The psychological aspects of Silent Hill 2, of you just having no idea what the fuck is going on the entire time, is pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive. Slides on in. Hey, what's up, Flyleaf Fowl? How are you? How are you?
Hi, Faye.
All right. Let me ask you another question. Horror game mechanics. Let's talk about mechanics. Many horror games play with tension through mechanics like limited ammo or sudden surprises. Which game mechanics do you think work best at creating fear, and why?
Um, that's a tough one. There's a lot of them. Um, Realistically, I'd say any of the games, like any of the survival horrors that go for the limited inventory capacity. Like I will say Silent Hill is very generous in its inventory system that you can pick up and carry anything and everything. If you find an item, it's not like, oh, your pockets are full, you can just take it. Whereas if you're playing any of the Resident Evils, like the classic ones, you have 6 slots, and those 6 slots are everything you can carry. Playing games like survival horrors that utilize that inventory system are tough because you have to choose between picking up a key item you need to progress or picking up that health item that might save your life at the last minute when you need it. So it's one of those things where it makes it very you have to be very conscious about what you're picking up or what you're dealing with, and almost like it'd be like tactical almost in your execution of playing those games, because if you pick up the wrong item at the wrong time, it could cost you like the level or cost you getting past that thing you're supposed to get past. Um, so it's tough. Like I remember playing Signalis, and Signalis is a really awesome horror game. It really lends into the survival horror vibe and the Resident Evil kind of vibe. Um, and it's also got a lot of Silent Hill tones to it. So if you ever want to play a good horror game, I recommend that one. But it has the limited inventory system and everything, and it's like if you run out of ammo, there's monsters that will mess you up. You know, it's terrifying trying to like overcome moments like that. So it's like there was a lot of times near the end of the game where I was running out of ammo, and I was freaking out like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? You know, like I was like, I don't know if I can beat this game anymore, guys. Like I don't have enough ammo to get past this one area, and it's like that kind of thing is scary because it's like once you run out of ammo, what are you gonna do? Like you can try and run, but if it's a boss you have to beat to progress, you're kind of screwed. And it's like trying to like almost like stress your way through those segments is tough. So I find those to be the most like terrifying parts of games is having limited resources and being careful about what choices you make, because any choice you make could be your last.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I gotta say, the Resident Evil having to leave stuff behind always killed me. Like, I'm just like, I hate this. I hate inventory issues.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, how do you approach streaming different types of horror games? Whether it's survival horror, psychological horror, or multiplayer horror? Does your strategy or mindset change depending on the type?
Yes, it does actually. Changes a lot depending on what game it is. Like on my channel, I used to have an overlay where it was like a whole bunch of like my stream labels, and I used to have a bunch of stuff on there and everything. It was kind of a little more cluttered than it is now. But back when whenever I played a horror game that was story driven, like Resident Evil or something, I tend to take a lot of things off my screen to almost focus directly on the game rather than having a lot of things on there. And I was a little bit more attentive to the game, and I kind of got a little more focused on the game than in the chat sometimes, so I'd be behind on chat sometimes too. But when I'm playing games like Dead by Daylight, I tend to focus more on chat than the game. So when I was playing like Killer and Dead by Daylight, I'd be running around chasing down survivors and almost on autopilot as I'm sitting there like staring at chat the whole time. Which like if people saw my character doing that, like where my eyes were to the left as the game plays on the right, and I'm almost like not paying attention to what I'm doing, they'd be like, "What the heck is like? What are you doing?" Like, someone I know made a comment about how I was casually like I'd be playing Dead by Daylight and like killing people and stuff in the game, and just being violent and all that stuff. But on the same board, I was like sitting there talking to chat, just like, "Oh, how was your day?" Like, you know, like just talking about how my day was, or like, you know, video games or other things while playing that game. Whereas if I play a game that's like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, I'm focused on that story. And there's some parts where I might talk about other things or like kind of like rant a little bit about other stuff. But I try and focus on the story in front of me with narrative driven games rather than just, you know, co-op games or things like that. Because there's not really a lot going on apart from just like, oh, this person did this, I'm going to chase them down or something like that. So it just depends.
Extra pip. That's the second time. What
Gotcha.
did you eat? This isn't the kind of stealth attack we learned about in ninja school.
Going on autopilot is the way, the easy sometimes, says Ayasibu.
Extra pip. Again?
Mm-hmm.
That's 3 times.
Hi,
now.
Annie.
Hey, what's going on,
This isn't
Oni?
the kind
How
of
are you?
smoke bomb we
Got a shared
ninjas
chat
are
today.
supposed to
How are
use.
you?
Atra Vez. Extra pip, that's 4 times.
All
This
right.
isn't the kind of stealth technique we teach at the Nakomata clan. Someone
Sorry.
get this ninja
Viewer
somewhere.
interactions. Horror games can
Sync
create
code
tense
B6.
and funny moments for viewers.
Extra pip.
How do you
This has
engage
got
your
to be some
community
kind of
during the
ninja
scary
warrior.
or high pressure scenes?
You're clearing the
Do
street
you let them
faster than my
in?
smoke bombs
Do
ever
you
could.
let them influence your decisions in the game?
I have sometimes. It depends. I remember when that whole thing happened with Visage, and I had Timmy the trash can protecting me for a while there. I had people in chat asking like, "Yo, drop the trash can, like let him go," and I'm like, "No, he's my friend." And like, there's a lot of times where it's like I'd be like, "Oh, okay, like there's a path in front of me, left or right, chat. What do I do?" Or things like that. Or if I play a game where how was it? I forget what game I was playing. It wasn't really a horror, but it was like I was playing Detroit Become Human, and I tried setting it up in chat where it's like if you wanted to vote for what I do next, they could. Sometimes the timers didn't work out very well, but I'd be like, hey, what do we do now? You know. Sometimes they give me help or advice on what to do, things like that, and also sometimes my mods have started arguments over things in the game, like Detroit Become Human, which we still argue about to this day.
Oh my.
Oh
my.
Things like that. It's just I like to try and see what chat's feedback is, and a lot of times if I play a game, I beat it, I'm like, okay, chat, what do we do next? The Chaos crew, my chat, like to be very chaotic, and I'll put a poll up saying, what game do we play next? And I'll tie the poll, so I ultimately have to pick, stuff like that. So
They always do that.
while I do like I try and lean on my community to ask questions and get their input, but sometimes I get mixed signals, and it's a little harder for me to get things get the feedback I'm looking for. But at the same time, it's part of the charm and part of the wonderful reason why I love my community so much. So
I gotcha. Yeah, I've let them give me recommendations, like in Silent Hill 2. Also, they help me sometimes. They're like trying to give me hints, like the moth puzzle. I spent way too long on the moth puzzle, and they were just like, they were just face palming so hard, trying to watch me play the moth puzzle. Oh, 1 second while I get my sexy no jutsu out of here. She walked in frame.
Hi, me Vita. That sports
Sorry.
car.
she want to
came
be part
out
of this
nowhere.
too.
Not even
There
my
we go.
ninja reflexes could dodge that one. Tell
Alright, 1
Ninja
second.
Gato. He still owes me a rematch
There we go.
in Street Fighter.
Also, they're causing chaos in the Mikoverse, so like I'm hearing the chaos between my AI and what's going on in the Mikoverse. Yeah, like Extra Pip just farted like 5 times. That's how it goes as a streamer. You just deal with the chaos. Have you ever played a horror game suggested by your community that ended up being a favorite or a huge surprise for you?
Definitely. Yeah. I definitely would say Signalis is probably the one that I recommend the most, because I wasn't even like asked to play it. I was just kind of gifted it, and they're like, play it. I'm like, okay, all right, sure. And I had heard that it was really good. I hadn't actually played it before. I didn't even have it on my radar or anywhere near it. And then I started playing it, and I was like, this is really wild. This is intense. And for those who don't know about it, it has elements from Resident Evil, classic survival horror, but also has this psychological aspect like Silent Hill. It has a mix of genres in it, and there's like even eldritch horror involved as well. And it's one of those games where you have to play it multiple times to understand. But it's interesting because like I also love the Nier games, and the Nier games are like Nier Automata, Nier Replicants. Those are games where you have to like really think between the lines to kind of understand what's going on. And the more you play it, the more context you get as to what's going on in the story and the characters and everything. And then it's beautiful in that regard. So it's like Signalis is one of those games where it's like you play it, and the more you play, the more you understand how things are going. And then yeah, it's one of those games that stuck with me, and I was thinking about it for weeks after I played it, and I want to play it again because of just how like beautiful it was and how it hit me. You know, it kind of affected me a lot more than I thought I would, and it was one of those games I can recommend so much, even though I haven't played it as much. You know, I've only played it the one time on stream, but like I want to go back and play it again. I've been itching for it.
That's cool, man. That's cool. And somebody gifted you that. That's even better. That's even better.
Yeah.
Okay. Future plans. Let's talk future plans. Where do you see your channel going in the future? Are there any specific goals you're excited to achieve?
I've had every year at the end of the year around this time, I try and come up with a list of goals that I want to accomplish in the following year. And I feel a little I'm unhappy this year that I haven't gotten even half of my goals accomplished. Since the beginning, I've wanted to try and get a lore video out and like a proper debut as a VTuber, get a VTuber model, things like that, get more emotes done, more channel stuff done, try and get like more video content done and actually making like TikToks and YouTube, stuff like that. I haven't been able to deliver on that front, and this year has been pretty rough in that point. I want to try and go to TwitchCon as well. Last year I bought a ticket, and or no, not last year, the year before I bought a ticket, didn't end up getting to go. So unfortunately, I felt like I was letting people down by not going, and then last year I couldn't go either, and it was a financial disaster for me this year. I had a lot of moving going on. I had job issues and everything, and it was like my income was very questionable for a while there. And then I finally found another job and all that stuff. So it's like I feel like I can probably accomplish a lot more of those things. I just feel like now I have no time because I work so much. But like I want to try and accomplish more. This new PNG I'm working on, I want it to be my last one until I finally get a VTuber model. All the things I'm working on and everything, I want to try and culminate into an actual presentation for a debut. Because I know it isn't important for a lot of YouTubers to have a lore and concepts and everything, and like it's not very important. But for me, I feel like until I hit that point of having a VTuber model, I won't be taken as seriously as my peers, and I won't be in the same, I guess, in the same league as many of them. Even though I know that VTubers don't necessarily need to have fancy models and all that stuff, and like streamers don't need to have all that to be successful. I also just feel like, as for myself, my set goals are to have a model and have lore and everything like that posted and all that, and like just I'm trying to tell a story, and I feel like once I actually have all that accomplished, I can start telling that story and be more confident as a creator for myself and for my community. And I feel like I want to give them a lot more than I have so far. So it's like every year I try and offer more and set higher goals for myself. But right now, my biggest thing is getting my projects done and having more to offer in the months to come. And then hopefully this upcoming year, I want to try and make TwitchCon and actually meet people. Because I recently met a friend of mine that I met through Twitch, Lady Anixia, and she came to visit up here in Canada. I went to go see her. And she's the first person I ever met through Twitch. And it's like, for me, it really solidified that it's like I have people out there I want to see, and there's friendships that I want to cement by meeting them in person and everything and knowing them offline. And I need to get there. And I feel like I have a lot of work ahead of me to get to that point, but I want to do it really badly. And I'm more driven than anything to do it now, so.
Well, that's cool. I mean, those are honorable goals. I will agree with you. I don't think it's necessary to have a big fancy model. I think you've done pretty well for yourself. I think a lot of us VTubers get that imposter syndrome, thinking that, well, we're not that 1K, 10K, 30K streamer or whatever. But, with if you have more than 10 viewers, you're already in the 1% of which you're a 1%er. So you're already successful in comparison to 99% of the community out there. You have nearly 3K, followers, which is something you've built over time, and you've built a really cool home for all said followers. So I'm just trying to compliment you and let you know that you're doing a good job, and don't feel like you're a bad VTuber just because, you stream on an older machine and have a PNG model. Like, absolutely, it's all about the community. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Well,
have
thank you. Appreciate that.
like I have a friend who also has a PNG model just like you, who's actually grown rapidly because she just made a really comfy community. I have this friend, Jackie's Advice, who is a licensed therapist. So, like, that's the community she's built around her channel, is giving people, a safe space to talk about, mental and emotional issues. And she's grown rapidly, like, rapidly. And it just shows that it's more about the community and what you make out of it than the big fancy models. Like, I've got the big fancy model, and my community is still the same. Like, it didn't change overnight or anything like that. So, and then Burning Beard says, doing a great job. Work hard as heck. Yeah, you do. You do. So, all right. All right. So let's ask another question. For aspiring VTubers or streamers, what advice would you give them when it comes to growing a brand or staying consistent?
Honestly, you kind of hit the nail on the head already. Staying consistent is the biggest thing. Because I've been streaming for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's a few things that like definitely stand out that I've noticed a lot of people have done. I've seen a lot of friends and fellow streamers and stuff go through highs and lows of their careers. A lot of them, the person I modded for originally, he hit partner within like the first 1.5 years of streaming, and he blew up so fast, and he was on the high road to success, and he was doing crazy good and everything, and like he put way too much work in, and it was kind of scary because like I knew him offline and I saw how much work he put into streaming. He almost put everything else in his life on the back burner, including his relationships and his family and everything. And it's like it was wonderful to see how much he grew and how much he did. But I also know that there's a balance involved, and I know that he also stopped streaming and he doesn't create content anymore. And it's one of those things where it's like moderation is important. That it's like staying consistent, staying organized is good, not just for you but for everyone around you. Having a schedule definitely helps. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely good to have. It's one of the things I think, not just for my own benefit, because I like to be organized. I like to have a schedule in front of me saying what games I'm going to play and when I'm going to do it. And that way it's like I'm also keeping myself on track, because if I don't, then I'm just indecisive and I have a hard time planning things at the last second. So it's better for me, and I get to tell everyone when I'm going to be live, what I'm doing, etc. And then having like a routine and like the same days every week and the same times every day and things like that are good to have. I've also seen a lot of people that originally when they started, and like even for myself when I started, I tried to figure out what my vibe was going to be, like what color scheme I wanted to go for, what my character and everything like that was going to look like, and things like that I had to consider. And a lot of it was trial and error. And I think like finding a good balance between like the games I played and the vibes I wanted to put off and everything else, and trying to like keep everything organized. It's like I want to try and ask myself the biggest question, and this is one that I ask everyone who wants to start streaming, is why do you want to stream? What do you want to accomplish? And for a lot of times, if anyone says money for their first, second, or third answer, then you're in it for the wrong reasons, in my opinion.
Yep.
Because like creators should be there to create. You have to have a goal. You have to have something in mind. It's like you could be looking for friends. You could be looking to tell a story. You could be looking to create a community and bring people together. You could be looking to do charity. You could be looking to like do good in your community and for people around you. You could be, I don't know, like anyone that like answers right away saying it's like I want to get money, like I want to get famous, like that's just, it's not the right reasons. And people like that are typically driven by numbers and analytics, and then it destroys them. And I've seen that happen a lot, where streamers will just focus on the numbers too much, and they'll be like, oh, I need to hit this many followers, I need to hit partner, I need to be big, and it's like it's not necessarily about the end goal. It's about the journey and getting there. It's not a race, it's a marathon. And if you go into it thinking it's a race, you'll burn out really fast.
Yep. And then the metrics never stop, right? Like affiliate plus, affiliate plus plus, partner plus, partner plus plus. You know, which ranking are you? And it's just, no, like don't go in this.
Yeah.
Don't go into this for the money, because like even you and I are 1%ers as far as viewership goes, and we're still making pennies per hour, most likely. Like I did my math, I know I'm making pennies per hour. Like if I was in it for the money, it'd be faster to just go get a job at McDonald's. So, hey, what's up, Baker? I see you on Kick. Thank you for your comments. Also, you are live on Kick, by the way. Have you ventured out to Kick at all?
I have not. I don't have a good relationship with that platform, and just personally, me personally, I only stream on Twitch. I was thinking about going into multi-streaming on YouTube as well, but I try and avoid Kick. Just a lot of people that I know that I don't agree with personally are over on Kick, and myself as well as my stream team have kind of made it our unspoken like agreement that it's like we won't stream on Kick just because of like the I don't know the viewership that we've attracted from there before. Whenever our streamers did go on that platform, it was a very different vibe over there. And me personally, that I only went over there and made an account to keep my name from being used on that platform, but I don't. It's so different that I wouldn't really consider going there to stream it. I just went over there to make sure that no one took my name or my identity, because that'd be the worst thing in the world is having someone try and like steal my channel name, you know. But not really for me, unfortunately.
Yep. I mean, that's fine. And I'm sorry, Baker Burner, but the Kick chat is not working today, so you're not seeing yourself on stream, but we are seeing you. I see you and Beppo out there. It's not your personality, it's an opinion. You can say whatever you want you have in mind. Says Baker Burner from Kick. Yeah, no, Kick's been a wild experience. Like, Baker Burner, you are one of like 3 Kick chatters that have been unique, that haven't been a bot trying to get me to whisper somebody on Discord to buy viewers or buy bots, essentially. So it's kind of cool to see somebody who's human, an actual chatter. There is a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on the platform. I'm just more about trying to get, support the competition, because I don't like Twitch having a monopoly, essentially, because then they'll make their cuts to us worse. They'll treat us worse. I did do YouTube for a while. I will caution you, YouTube is more strict when it comes to copyright detection. So music, video content, I got 2 strikes on YouTube before I stopped streaming on YouTube. Since then, my strikes have fallen off, but I have not returned to YouTube for streaming. And I might do it again in the future if I'm just doing like for sure gaming content. But then again, I feel like gaming content just comes and goes, and it's not as popular. It's not that they are strict, it's that they are fake, says Beppo. Interesting. You got clapped for stuff you didn't do.
That's true, yeah. The fake like reports and stuff are awful, and the fake copyright claims are awful.
Yeah, yep. And you're worthless to them, so they aren't gonna do a damn thing about it. True. I just cost them money. I don't earn them money. We do need to diversify the streaming space, absolutely. We don't want Twitch to have a monopoly, because then they'll just stop innovating and stop doing anything to support us as streamers. So
quick, someone get me a fan before we all pass. Dios mío.
Meanwhile, Pip is farting in my ear. This is awesome.
Quick, we need to help. My ninja training didn't prepare me for the attacks. Someone get some water.
Alright, and then my final question, that's a usual question that we give people, is what advice would you give someone starting out to streaming? It doesn't have to be a VTuber, it could be a FleshTuber. Like, what's your starting piece of advice?
I think it's yeah, that question that I asked earlier, like, why do you want to stream?
Mm-hmm.
I've had a lot of friends message me from my VR circles and elsewhere asking me, how do I start streaming? What do I do? Things like that. It's hard because I could sit there and say, oh, this is how you set up OBS. This is how you make videos. This is how you set up your channel. All this stuff. That's how you set up like share band info, things like that. It's like I could tell you how to do it, but ultimately, I can't like hold your hand and be like, this is how you become famous. This is how you be good at streaming. You know, like this is how you grow as a channel. It's different for everyone. And while I can give advice and tips and pass on knowledge and advice that I've learned, ultimately it's up to the person to have the drive to do it and to have the willingness and the goal to see it through. Because I know a lot of people start streaming for the wrong reasons. I know a lot of people kind of lose themselves and lose their goal along the way. I've seen a lot of friends that just kind of change over time because they just become focused on numbers. They become focused on reaching partner, and they might do it for malicious reasons. They might do it to try and outdo a friend or to like, you know, like basically prove they're better than someone else, and they're really not. Because numbers are, you know, they're, while on the one hand they are something that helps us as creators, it's also something that hinders us greatly. And having a certain amount of followers isn't important ultimately. Like having a community that's consistent, having people that want to be around and stuff is wonderful, and that's honestly what you should focus on is keeping your space the way you want it and sticking true to yourself and your goals and your morals. Because a lot of times too is that like when people suddenly get a lot of viewers or grow in size or get a lot of attention, they start to change and they focus on more of the negative than the positive. And I've had friends that have complained to me like, I didn't get that many viewers today, like I'm gonna give up. Or they're like, oh, I played this game that I really enjoy but no one wanted to watch it, stuff like that. And it's like you have to really consider why you want to stream and have a bit of a strategy to do it. And like staying consistent too, because a lot of times if you stream once or twice a week and then you take time off, you don't tell people where you are. You don't say like, oh, I'm canceling streams, or you don't tell people what you're doing, and you just spontaneously do it. I find it's a lot harder to retain an audience and a community that want to come see you on a regular basis if you're just all over the place, you know? Because it's like having a streaming guide is like a TV guide almost. Like, this is my schedule this week. Come see me at these times in this place if you want to see me, kind of thing. And it's like, it's hard because a lot of people don't do that. They just try and do different things, experiments. And that's one thing I learned from a streamer friend of mine who was talking to another friend who they both became partners pretty fast. And they said, before you become a partner, you're welcome to experiment as much as you want, because that's the time for experimentation. Once you hit partner, and if you start going full time as a streamer especially, you don't really have room to experiment much. You kind of get locked into a niche of gameplay or a niche of schedule or something like that. And it's like messing with that can be terrifying, but also it's good to just pretty much keep yourself on track, have like almost like a checklist of things that you do and that you like need to succeed. And just don't forget yourself and what the reason why you started the whole time along the way, pretty much. So
yep. The
hard.
schedule can be helpful, but hard for some people to set up right, says Burning Beard. Okay, I'll agree with that. And then Neil have seen some of the things you talked about streamer burnout. Okay. I did think of a new piece of advice that I wish I would have given myself, and I think it's important to give. And before you start, set up your streamer email. Like step number 1, set up your streamer email. You know, make sure it's separate from everything personal. Like you got the name for your streamer name. That way you can keep your private stuff separate and don't get it all intermingled, because that can get That can get messy. I did recently think about that piece of advice. There we go, Neil. We got you on green. Okay. All right. This is the. She's right. She's seems to me that she's a bit shocked how strangers kick stream ask her strange things. She's got a point. Says Baker Burner on Kick. I leave you one thing with good advice. As your partner or trusted friendship people online and media use you, and they laugh at you later one day when you have achieved success. Interesting advice, Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. All right, at this point of the interview, I will turn it over to the chat. Do you guys have questions for ChaosAkuma? Is there anything you would want to ask this streamer? And in the meantime, while they type that up, I will think of a silly question. If you could have a superpower, Akuma, what would be your superpower?
I could have one. I think teleporting would be super cool.
That's a common one.
Like you ever you ever seen like X-Men or know about X-Men? I guess probably most people do. My favorite character in X-Men was Nightcrawler, and I loved how he just poof in a puff of smoke and just teleport pretty much wherever he could picture or wherever he's known. And it's like the idea of just escaping like an annoying situation or just going however far to see someone that you want to see. You could just do it in an instant. That'd be so nice because I would have the opportunity to go and see people that I want to see or be where I want to be at that moment. And that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Or like traveling to TwitchCon wouldn't be so expensive if you could just teleport there. Geofracture Games wants to know what is your favorite moment in your streaming career so far?
I did my first charity stream since becoming a VTuber, and we were raising money for Stack Up, and Stack Up was the first charity to reach out to me in regards to raising money for veterans, and it's to combat mental health, which I'm an advocate for, and awareness and everything like that for veterans that are serving and are retired. And the idea is to raise money to send them care packages of games and pop culture things, take them on trips, stuff like that, to kind of get them off the front lines and help them, survive a lot of things that plague a lot of people on the front lines and people that have dealt with combat and everything. And we raised $2,000 in 24 hours, and
That's incredible.
lost it. I was mind blown. I was in the first 3 hours we raised $1,000, and I was freaking out. Like it was insane. It was insane show support, and I was super excited. And it was my first ever time streaming as a charity stream. And like before that, I'd done 24-hour streams of Extra Life, and I raised maybe $200 at most ever, and that was like playing games for hours and hours and hours. But $2,000 was insane, and I got messages from the actual veterans too. They reached out to me and said thank you for the care packages, and I got messages on Twitter. They came in my Twitch chat, and I was losing it.
actual end recipients. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I got a care package from Stack Up thanking me and everything, and it was nuts. And I want to do it again. This year was so busy and crazy for me. I didn't get the chance, but it was so fun. And I want to do it again. It was amazing.
That's super cool. Yeah. Okay. All right. Neil had a subjective question. He says, "What would ChaosAkuma do that's different to Twitch if they had their own streaming platform?"
I really hope that, or what? I do. Well, first of all, if I had a streaming platform, I know that originally when partnership meant something, well, it still means something, but before then, partners used to have almost exclusivity to TwitchCon and stuff like that. They used to have benefits and stuff, and it was back then. It was a thing where a lot of people tried to fight to get to a partnership. I really think that the split, the split of money and everything, should go more towards creators. I really hate that they made this partner plus and everything. all that stuff. I know that it's nicer to try and get better pay for streamers, but I really think that more streamers should get paid better, because if with how much the community gives towards the creators and everything, it's like it would be a lot more. I know it's hard to like balance the payments and everything like that, because like I know Twitch is like losing money even though they take half of our income all the time. It's just like I really hope that they make a platform that's not like Kick, but sustainable, that creators can actually like get paid better, have better opportunities, or even just like just give creators more tools that they need to reach their goals and their dreams. Because I know a lot of people that go into streaming, they want to make it a regular thing. They want to make it like an actual like career. And I know that the population of streamers on Twitch and everything that do make enough money to live off that stuff, they're making insane amounts of money, you know. And I feel like it really shouldn't be like one person getting 99% and one person getting 1%, you know. I think it should be a lot more fair, and I think it should be a lot more like even, I guess, in that case. But I know it's probably impossible, because you have people that have like thousands of viewers making thousands of money or hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, where you have other people that are fighting their butt off and making next to nothing because of Twitch. So I feel like there should be like kind of some kind of thing with a new streaming site came out, that there's some kind of equality there, and they actually have tools that people ask for, not stuff that they just implement for funsies. You know, like I don't know, like Twitch has a habit of doing that, where they just like come out with stuff and it's like, hey, check out this thing that we're putting out. We're gonna put all of your stream info on the top of the chat or on the top of the screen just because, and see how it looks, and confuse everybody, you know.
Yep.
Like recently they did with the Twitch title being above the stream picture.
Yeah, with all the tags that we didn't. Yeah, like nobody asked for this, so they just did this. Okay. I think I have a question from Kick from Baker Burner. I'm gonna read it together, and then hopefully you can help me decipher it. I think I kind of understand what he's trying to ask, but let's see if we can figure this out together. Who brought you to your career, and how did you learn at this point that you want to do VR chat and share your life with people and just game and be so self-confident? I think he's saying like inspiration.
Like who brought me to this point, like who got me started kind of, and like yeah, okay. So that friend that I was talking about, he and I were friends, and I had known him before we started Twitch streaming and everything, and we played D&D together. We were friends, hung out once in a while occasionally. He started streaming, and he told me about it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, a lot of people started streaming around like COVID and everything, but I didn't start until way later. But I joined his channel. I offered to be a mod. He was like, at the time he was pretty small and he was starting out and everything. But then yeah, like he just one day asked me on stream, like, would you ever stream? And I said I had my channel set up to do that because I'd reached affiliate before. I hadn't used my channel in a couple years since then. And I was like, maybe if I felt like it, I might, you know? And then he immediately started telling everyone in his chat, hey guys, guess what? Chaos is gonna start streaming Dead by Daylight. And I was like, what? And they're just, he like pushed this narrative that I was gonna start streaming. And then I was like, well, I don't want to be a liar now. Like, I feel bad because people were like, because I was an affiliate at the time. Someone subscribed to me, and I hadn't even streamed as a VTuber yet.
That's a lot of pressure.
No. Yeah, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll do the thing. And then I started streaming DVD, and the next thing I know, I'm like, okay, people are showing up. This is crazy. Okay, and then I started doing the socials thing and set up a Discord and streamer email and all that stuff. And I was like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. So then I started building and going from there. And everything that I learned was either things I asked my friends who were streamers, who had become streamers, or things I looked up online. And I was like, well, okay, we're doing this. We're doing the thing, I guess. And like,
straight into the
on the
deep
one
end.
hand, I was
Yep.
I was a coward a little bit because I was like, I don't really know if I'm ready to do the whole community thing again. I've been part of communities before. I had been part of like websites with tons of people, and I've been like in charge of communities in that regard for years off and on. And it's like I wasn't sure if I was ready for another community. I wasn't sure if I was ready for a heartbreak of just drama and stuff like that. But I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. And I've been terrified in some regard, but also excited, and it's been good so far. There's been
Mm.
bad, of course, but it's like, just, just look before you leap sometimes. And I didn't, and I was like, now I'm here, now doing the thing. So
Nice.
scary, but
Yeah, you've had ups and downs along the way. Okay. Okay.
mm-hmm.
Very cool. The crew is solid, says Burning Beard. Wow, they threw you into the deep end. That's what the GeoFracture game says. Okay, let me see if I have any more kick questions. Sorry, and then my interesting story. Well, he seems so nice, says Baker Burner from Kick. Also, we're in VR chat category on Kick because I found that I have better discoverability in VR chat than I do in VTubers. Kick does, for some reason, does not. Like, I tried to go into just chatting, and their admins will move you into VTubers. And in VTubers, there's, like, very little discoverability. Which is kind of odd. Because VR chat is technically like a hidden category in Kick. But I've still had way more interactivity there, so sometimes I just hang out in there. But yes, Baker Burner, if you are interested in a VR chat-like platform, we are also using a program called the Micoverse. It is powered by Unreal Engine, and if you have a VRM, you could just favorite that the game on Steam, and you could join us. You can hang out with us right now. I've got chatters in my community. There's TTC Beppo hanging out, Neil Wiley, Extra Pip is also streaming. Mad Fresk has got a model of like a little ghost. Then I've got a model as a coin that a streamer made for me, or a friend made for me. Sorry, a chatter made for me. What is that a bees model? It's just like a robotic woman-like thing? That's interesting. All kinds of cool stuff happening in the Micoverse, so consider joining. There are times in multiplayer games that more competitive players behave negatively. How do you deal with frustration when you are live and keep good vibes going? Asks Burning Beard.
I can actually attest to this. I've told my community a couple times before that I used to be a huge Call of Duty gamer before I started streaming on Twitch and everything.
Oh, you're a COD.
I used to be.
COD is sweaty,
I used to be competitive. Yeah, like I used to. I don't know. I used to like enjoy trying to fight for myself and fend for myself against people that were really toxic and everything. And especially being a female in a male-dominated gamer space such as Call of Duty, it was like I had to fight to like basically have a place there almost. I had to like prove that I was able to hold my own. And yeah, a lot of times when I was playing Dead by Daylight, back when I first started streaming on Twitch, I used to be really competitive. I used to be like I used to like almost rage at Dead by Daylight. Not on stream, I'd try and keep it chill, but off stream, it's like I used to get pissed. I used to get angry a lot. Like I am an 18 plus streamer. I swear a lot, mostly out of habit, mostly because of like humor. But sometimes I do get genuinely angry, and it's like I try really hard to keep the vibes better. And I found that streaming on Twitch has helped me discipline myself a lot more. And I don't actually like. I don't know, it's like almost like I let that anger kind of go a lot since then. So it's like games don't get me as riled up. If they do, I tend to get quiet. I don't get loud. I get quiet, and I'm just like, I'll just stop talking. I remember one night I was playing Devil May Cry, and I was Devil May Cry 3 had this boss ready to fight Virgil, and it was like I was so angry. I was quiet. I was like not saying a word. I wasn't saying a peep. I was not answering chat. I was just sitting there focused, trying to fight for my life. And I had raids. I had people coming in, and they're like, "Hey, Chaos, how's it going?" And I'm just sitting there like dead silent. I'm just like, "It's going fine. It's going." Like I just try and keep it, simmer it down inside myself, and swallow my anger, and just like not let it, affect the vibe of the channel. I try and avoid playing games like Souls like games that make me mad, and stuff like that to try and like keep the vibes going. And usually I'll try and shrug it off if I'm playing like Dead by Daylight or something, and I get frustrated. I'm just like, well, you can't win them all, like just let it go, because it's going to do a lot more damage if you hold on to that than just letting it go.
Gotcha.
I try, at least.
Not sure if that was a joke or not, Burning Beard, but I believe Neil Wiley is Scottish. They're talking about not mixing the Scottish with the Irish, which is kind of funny. Because Neil Wiley is Scottish. Oh, and also Smiley, Fowler. We do have a shared chat going on between ChaosAkuma and I. So that's why you're seeing a lot of people you don't recognize because they're gatos. Oh, what do you call your community?
I call them the Chaos Crew. I still haven't come up with an actual name for the community yet. I tried one time, and I asked everybody, and they, as the Chaos Crew does, they decided in their right mind to not answer properly and gave me really funny answers. And I'm like, okay, no, I'm not naming you guys like that because I don't remember what it was exactly. I remember asking, and I said that when I become a proper VTuber, quote unquote, and I have like a model and a lore and everything, I'm like, I have to give you guys some kind of name, Everyone has something, and it's like I'm trying to come up with something for my community that fits them and it's deserving of them. I don't want to call them like I don't know, like my little demons or something. Like I want to call them like something that's fitting, but also like respectful, not just like some people are just like, oh, they just call them chat, or they just call them like I don't know, something like not necessarily derogatory, but like borderline derogatory, or like be like calling my community trash. Like, hello, little trash bags, welcome in. Like that's not nice. Like I want to give them something that matters, but also it's like it kind of fits. And I still haven't come up with one yet, so I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, we're the gatos, obviously, because we're cats. Interesting. All right, last call. Any other questions? Birding Beard has just dropped one. Many streamers tie themselves to DBD even though they might be tired of playing the game for hours every day for the views. You took the risk of going for more variety. What advice would you give to streamers recent to making the change? Do you feel it was a good move for you?
Yeah. As someone, I've been part of this like ongoing battle for a while now of people being stuck in the Dead by Daylight niche, because that game, for whatever reason, I'm still trying to figure it out, is very, very heavy niche. Like, people that watch Dead by Daylight are people that either play themselves or only would rather watch it rather than play it. And for some reason, people only like watching that one particular game. If you play something else, they bail. They just are not interested. They watch you for that game and that's it. I don't know why it's so cutthroat, but it is. And a lot of creators will force themselves to play Dead by Daylight, even if they're not having fun, and if they're just miserable, just so that they can keep their numbers and everything up and keep their community coming back. And it's like, I really think that a lot of YouTubers need to benefit, or like a lot of streamers in general need to benefit from playing other games and variety, because I've noticed a lot of friends that for the past like year or two, I've seen a lot of friends transition from Dead by Daylight to other things, and it's really important to embrace variety. Have a variety day. Like I had Tuesday and Thursday were my Dead by Daylight streams, and that was all I streamed. I started up playing on Wednesdays and streamed variety only. That was my variety day. So if you wanted something different, that was the one day I'd do it. If you wanted horror, I'd start doing it on Sundays, and then it's like every day was different. Over time, it's kind of blended because I try and lean more into like the horror and variety aspect more than Dead by Daylight, because of just how how niche it is and also how toxic it is, and I'm trying to move away from that being my focus. And I know a lot of friends that stream only Dead by Daylight. I've started playing other games once a week or twice a week or even more than that, and they've found themselves a lot happier, and their mental health has improved a lot since then too. So it's like it's a lot. You'd be surprised how much you'll enjoy streaming when you're playing games you like, not games you have to play.
Yep. I think it's good. I think variety is the spice of life, and also, yeah, you'll lose viewers. Like you just have to accept the loss for the value of having content that you enjoy, because you might not be enjoying playing Death by Daylight all day every day. But you also pick up new viewers and chatters based on different games you play and or categories or collabs.
Exactly.
Thanks, Mira says, watching DBD is only fun when the streamer enjoys it, in my opinion.
Hi, Mira. But I agree with you on that one. Like, it's it's one of those times where it's like you watch someone struggling. I know some people thrive off of like almost like hate content, and like getting angry is like when people go to watch and it's like I don't know why they would watch that. It just feels weird. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like just try something different. Try play something different. And while there is a loss in not having as many people around, the people that care about you genuinely as a creator will stick around, and they'll keep coming back, and they'll stay for you, not the game. And it's like when you reach a point of having a community where they're there for you, not the game you're playing or whatever. It's like that's when you finally feel like you kind of like made it as a creator, and it's like I finally like kind of like reached my goal of having a community, because like otherwise you're just playing a game for people who want to see that game, and that's it. They're only there for the game, not for you.
Neil wants to know, has ChaosAkuma ever had chatters legitimately complain because they aren't playing the exact game they want to see? If so, what was their reaction?
Oh man, I forget what game it was, but there was one time where I talked to the chat, and I do this thing sometimes where I do like a TED talk almost. I'm like, I'm gonna talk about this, guys, or I start on a topic and I kind of go off the deep end and just rant for a bit until I catch myself and get back on track again. But there was one day I was having, and it was a really, really, really rough day, and I was really upset, and I was just having a really bad time, and I was like, I'm gonna stream because I want to hang out with my community, and that will help me feel better. And so I started streaming, and we got on this topic. I forget exactly what I was talking about, but I wanted to like thank everybody, and I want to thank my community. Like, thanks guys for being here today. Like, it means a lot to me and everything. And then next thing I know, a hype train started. Everyone started like outpouring bits and subs and everything at me, and I was crying because I was like, stop it, guys! I'm here to like play games and stuff, and like I want you guys to know I appreciate you. Like it just thank you for everything. But I was crying because I was overwhelmed. It was a lot. I was really happy, but I was also like wholesome and heartwarming. And I was sitting there crying my eyes out, and I was like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be upset. And then one person in chat was like, hey, is Chaos gonna play the game or what? And I was like, oh, okay, well, so it's like I don't know if you want to read the room or not, but we're kind of in the middle of something, so I'm like, I'll get to the game after a little bit. I don't know when. I'm sorry, like if you came for the specific game, I'll play it later. I don't know. Like it was the one time that ever happened to me, and I was
The one guy.
kind of confused. I'm like, how do I deal with this? It's like going to a birthday party, and someone's about to blow out their candles, and they're all like, yay, and then someone's just like, blow it out already. It's like, what? Bro, let me like process the emotions first. Let me like think about my wish, bro. Don't rush me. It's so weird. So I don't know. Like I was like caught off guard by it. I was like, I'll play the game later. I'm kind of crying and I'm kind of dealing with some stuff. And there's a hype train going and it's loud, but like I'll get to see you at some point. Like,
yep.
He never came back. It never came back. But it was just one of those things where I'm just like, wow, if you wanted it that badly, like there's a stream next door if you want it that much. Like I'm sorry, Yep. But it's fine.
Yeah, I've also had a chatter that was like, more gaming content, because I do like the news, drama, and reacts as well. And they're just like, I don't like this content. You should do more gaming content. And I was like, bro. Like, I've looked at the analytics, and in my community, that does the poorest. Because I'm not a really good gamer, or like, just average. So I'm just like, bro, don't backseat me. That for sure wasn't me. True. Smiley wants to know, what is one franchise or game you're glad to have discovered thanks to streaming? Also, what is your favorite edgy character design?
Okay. Smiley has my heart with the last part there, because Smiley knows I love edgy characters. It's my whole thing. Through streaming. I'm trying to think, because I know technically I didn't discover Yakuza through streaming, but I did play it through streaming and fell in love with it through streaming.
Oh, I want to play that.
Like, was it, so I got Yakuza 0. I played it for like, I don't know, an hour or something like that before once, and when I was gifted it, and I remember like not caring about the story and just doing side stuff because I fell in love with this girl working in a supermarket and I wanted to help promote her to being an amazing salesperson. So I bought like 1,000,000 bentos and I called it a day. And I was like, this is kind of cool, I guess. And then I never really cared. And then on stream, I played, was it Like a Dragon Ishin, which is the jet, like it's almost like the samurai story version. It's like a spin-off almost, where it's like a samurai story set in Edo, Japan. Sorry, not Edo, Japan. I can't think of it at the moment. Basically set in Japan. Fictional characters, like real historical characters, played by Yakuza characters. I ended up playing that, and that's actually how I met Burning Beard. Funny enough, I was streaming that game, and I'd never played a Yakuza game properly before, and I was like, it was silly, it was serious, the story was really well told, the animations and like the graphics were amazing, the music was awesome, it was fire, and I just fell in love with it so hard. Like I was like streaming it on Saturdays. No, this is the best game ever. And I didn't want it to end. And I was like, there was one time where I had a cliffhanger and I was sitting there freaking out, like, I don't want it to end. I have to, but I want to play it so bad. And like ever since then, I'm like, okay, I'm buying all the games. I'm playing them all on stream. I played Yakuza 0. And my next goal is to play the first one, QME at some point. But I'm like, I keep wanting to go back to it and play more of it because it was so good. It was so fun, you know? But, and as for edgy characters, I like Reaper from Overwatch. I have a statue of him on my shelf. He's really cool and I like him a lot. He's my favorite edgy boy because he's just like murder and killing, and that's a vibe for me.
Oh wait, so you've played Overwatch too? Oh, that's right. You were FPS. You did COD. Have you tried Marvel Rivals? That's a good community game since it's free. If you haven't.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet, but I've heard good things about it. I thought I'd get around to it eventually. I've been so swamped with everything else on my plate. I haven't had the chance to put that in my schedule or anything yet, but I'd like to at some point.
Yep.
Give it a try, maybe.
It is heavy though, so you might test it out. Test it out before you try to stream it. Smiley says, Like a Dragon Ishin is actually set in the
Bakumatsu, yeah. Bakumatsu,
period.
yeah. I was trying to think of it. I'm like, what the hell's the name of it again? It's not the Edo period. Bakumatsu period, my bad.
Yeah, Rivals looks like. Yeah, I actually played Rivals. My community encouraged me to join another community that was doing a community collab, and it was actually fun. I'm terrible, but I still had fun. Especially if you could get a lobby that's all friends. Like, that makes it a lot of fun. Like, we literally got 12 people. 12 all people that all knew each other to play, which takes the sweatiness out of it, you know? Like, so... Rooper is a great edge boy. True. Okay.
I was like a huge tryhard on Overwatch. I was like competitive, like really sweaty, like diamond rank. I was crazy into it for a while, and then I stopped.
It's funny seeing Mechanics be the only sweaty one. Bro, Mechanics was wrecking us. Just absolutely, like, 30 plus kills every game. Like, but he's just that skilled as a gamer. Alright. Alright, last call before we say bye to YouTube. Last call. Any other questions for ChaosAkuma? I'll think of another silly question. If you could travel anywhere, money or PTO not a concern, where would you go?
What have you been eating?
Japan. I really want to go on a trip there, and I want to take a few friends with me.
Nice.
I want to go so bad.
Extra pip raid. We're getting raided. Chaos. We're getting raided.
Hello,
Bye,
welcome
Pip.
Raiders. Hi, everybody.
Welcome Raiders. Hello, Pip. Meow, bitch. What's up, Pip? Let me shout you out, Pip. Thank you for the raid. Thank you for playing Phasmo. Oh, have you done Phasmo in your community?
A couple times, yeah. That streamer I modded for, he used to do Phasmophobia like almost exclusively for a long time, and I used to play with him a lot, and I kind of burned myself out with Phasmophobia.
Thank you so much for the raid, Pip. Yeah, we were playing Phasmo earlier. There's like a Christmas event going on type of thing where it looks like Krampus is running around killing us. Hello, Pip. How's the rest of your stream? How's the rest of Phasmo? We're still in the Mikoverse. We're still here. I will note, Pip, you were farting in my ear the entire time you were farting, which added fun and chaos to the stream. Welcome back, Texas. How are you, Texas Regas? Good to see you. Good to see you. Also, Pip, my AI noticed you farting. Like, she was like, "Oi, extra Pip, lay off the beans. I need to go get a fan." Like, that's a recent update. They didn't do that before. The AIs didn't take notice of what was going around them. So, all right. All right, let me scroll up to see if I missed any questions. Also, I've interviewed Pip multiple times. I don't think I saw any questions. Okay. All right, let's add a stream marker and let's say bye to YouTube. Let's say bye to YouTube. All right, so everyone in the chat and in ChaosAkuma's chat, if you type HIYT, that will make a wave at YouTube emote. So we'll say bye to YouTube. Let's get the HIYTs, and then let me add the stream ending overlay. This is the fake outro. We're just saying bye to YouTube. All right. All right, YouTube. I'm gonna link all of ChaosAkuma's socials below. Make sure you go follow ChaosAkuma on all the socials and check her out next stream. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe.